Okay, so today's lesson is on quartiles and box plots. This is where we take percentiles and become very specific with them. We are going to talk specifically about the 25th, the 50th, and the 75th percentile. That is what quartiles are, okay? The word quart generally signifies 4, so we're splitting up our data into four sections. So we'll have the first quartile, the second quartile, the third quartile, and the fourth quartile. So this is going to, so you're going to learn how to do that today. There are two ways to do this. You can use the graphing calculator for some of it. If you don't have a graphing calculator, there is a long way to do it that I will show you at the very end. So I'm going to assume that you have a graphing calculator. If you do not, you can watch till the end, and then after the video is over, I'll show you how to do it without a graphing calculator. So, first of all, with the graphing calculator, I couldn't find a program where I could have it up online, so I just have screenshots here. These screenshots do not come from the same set of data, but I wanted to show you how this worked. So, if you were to put all of your data set into the graphing calculator and in a list, then come up with your one variable stats again, where we find the standard deviation, the mean, and those kind of things. Okay? You'll notice right here, there's an arrow pointing down. If you are to scroll down on your data, you will find more numbers. So do you notice here, underneath the N, you find a minimum, a Q1, a median, a Q3, and a maximum. Okay? This is what's called a 5-number summary. So if you were to take a data set, put it in, the very bottom number is 33, which is our minimum. Okay, that's one number, right? So then we have 54, which is quartile 1, which means that's the 25th percentile. So it calculates that for you. You don't have to do anything, you just have to recognize what it is. That's quartile 1. Then we have 67, that is the median, or quartile 2, you could call it that as well. That's not a very good cue, let me try that again. The median, or Q2. And then we have Q3, which is 76.5. Okay, this is Q3. And then we have the maximum, which is 93. So you notice I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. A 5-number summary. It will ask you for that. You need a minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, and a maximum. And the graphing calculator does it all for you. Okay, you're not learning anything new with the graphing calculator. You simply do what you've done before, go to one variable stats, scroll down past the mean, past the standard deviations, and you will find your 5-number summary. Okay, so how do we use this and what does it mean? Oh, whoops. I guess that's not what we're talking about next. We need to talk about outliers. Okay, now outliers are usually fairly easy to identify, but occasionally you may have a set of data and you don't know for sure if it is an outlier. So you're going to use a formula that will ask you to find the interquartile range, and I'm going to apologize, I'm going to scroll back one because we should have done that on the last page. Somehow I lost a page when I moved to the video. So now that we have found all of our data, we're going to find something that's called the interquartile range. So the interquartile range takes Q3, which is our third quartile, subtracts the first quartile, Q3, Q1, okay, and it gets us a number come up with 22.5. This tells us how many numbers are between quartile 1 and quartile 3. Okay, and that's called the interquartile range, or IQR. All right. So we're going to use that IQR to find outliers. So in this set of data, you find the interquartile range. So let's go back and see what it was for this last one. 22.5. Okay. And by the way, this chart is in your book if you need it. It's in section 3-4. I don't know the page number off the top of my head. Okay. We're going to multiply that number by 1.5. Okay. And I get 33.75. And then subtract. Okay, so we're going to subtract Q1 from this value. So 33.5, 33.75 minus 22.5, which is 11.25. We're going to add it to Q3. I don't remember what Q3 was. It's just 76.5. I get 87.85. Okay? So pretty much, and then we check the data set. And so we look at this and we say any number that's below 11.25 or above 87.85 would be considered an outlier. Now, unfortunately, for this set of data, I do not have the original data set, so we can't check for outliers on this one, but we will in the next one. Okay, so next example. Okay, I want you to find a 5-number summary, the interquartile range, and all the outliers of this data. So we're going to start by putting those into the calculator. Okay? And you can do that if you want to pause for a moment so that you can do that. You may. I'm going to continue on. But when you do that, that spits out the following numbers. Obviously, we know the minimum is 5. The minimum is 5. The maximum, we're going to write the maximum down here because we want the other numbers in between it, is 50. Okay. Then we're going to find Q1, which is 9. The median, which is 14. And Q3, which is 20. The interquartile range, okay, is Q3 minus Q1. So that's 20 minus 9, which is 11. Okay. Now, if we go back, remember to find the outliers. We multiply that by 1.5, so 11 times 1.5 is 16.5. Okay. We subtract that from Q1, which is 9. So that's going to give us actually negative numbers. Okay, that's negative 7.5. And then we add it to Q3. We get 36.5. So are there any numbers that are outside of this range? Obviously, there's no outliers on the bottom half, but if you notice, the 50 is above 36.5, so 50 would be considered an outlier. Now, most of you could look at that and see that, but this is actually hard data that proves that 50 is an outlier. So, moving on. Creating a box plot. Okay, this is the box and whisker plots, which you might have done before in previous classes, but we're going to do it in here as well. It's a very good data analysis chart, so we're going to use it to kind of get a picture for our data. For creating box plots, it's very important that you have evenly spaced number lines. So if you notice this number line, it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, and they're very evenly spaced. I went ahead and found one online. If you can draw your own, that would be okay, but you probably just make sure that you use a ruler or something so that all your numbers are evenly spaced. So on a box plot, what we do is we identify, first of all, the quartiles on the chart. So we're going to say quartile 1 is at 9, which is right here. Quartile 2 is at 14, which is right here. Quartile 3 is at 20. Okay? And that's going to create our box. Q1 to Q3 is our box. Okay? And in the middle here, we have the median. Okay? Then we have our minimum and our maximum. So this is only, right here I only have 3 numbers. I need my other 2 numbers. So I have a 5, which we're going to draw the dot actually on the 5 up here so we can see it up here a little bit. And then I have a 50, which is all the way over here. We draw a line from the dot to the plot. That's my whisker there. And So this is a box and whisker plot. Do you notice, this also shows us how big that outlier is here. So that is it. That is how to find 5 number summaries, create a box and whisker plot, find outliers, and an interquartile range. You will have an assignment to work on that will be due tomorrow, or I guess it will be due on Monday, okay, or Tuesday, depending on when I see you next, okay? So make sure that over the weekend you get that done. So homework is on Edmodo. Okay, the video is over now. Unless you do not have a graphing calculator and you don't have an easy way to find Q1, Q3, and the median, I'm going to show you the long way. It really isn't that much longer, but the graphing calculators help. So if you have a graphing calculator, you're done. If not, keep watching. So finding the 5 number summary the long way. All right, so we need to go back to our data. I should have brought it over here. I did not. So be patient with me for just a second. I still don't know how to pause a video and then keep going, so just give me a second. I'm going to copy the data so that we can create this. Okay, almost there. Okay, so here's our data. It's very, very important that as you calculate the data or your quartile 1, quartile 3, and median, that your data is in order. This is already put in order. If it's not in order, you're going to end up with wrong numbers. Okay, so finding Q1, the median, and Q3 is actually very simple. We need to find medians, so we count up how many data points we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and we go to the very center, which is going to be between 4 and 5 data points. So between 13 and 15, we add those together, divide by 2, and I end up with 14. So that is my median. Then I look at the bottom half of my data, and I find the median for the bottom half of my data, okay, which is right here. So between 5 and 6, and between 6 and 12, because I go right in the middle of my bottom half of my data. So I add 6 plus 12, that's 18, divided by 2 is 9. So Q1 is 9. And Q3. And again, I do the same thing. I go right in the middle of my upper data, so between 18 and 22. Add those together, divide by 2, and I get 20. And those are really, I mean, the minimum, obviously, you can see is 5, and the maximum is 50. So that is finding it the long way.